A very warm welcome to you. Today we have the beautiful, wonderful Jocey Wiitanen, who has come in to share her lived experience inside the Living Abundance Mastermind and the Living Abundance Leaders Program. What this world of wealth, consciously creating wealth in every area of your life, guided by your heart, body, and soul, looks like. Welcome, Jocey. Can you take a moment to introduce yourself, please?
Yes, I'm so excited to be with you and sit with you and chat about this beautiful experience that I've had over the last 2 years of being in your world, in the world of consciously creating. I am Jocey Wiitanen. I am a mom to two, I call them my treasures, a 3-year-old and a 10-month-old, and a wife to a husband who I adore. He's my soulmate. And yeah, I am an embodiment expert. I work with women who are remembering who they are, who are have lost that connection, lost their voice, who are feeling like they don't belong in the world ultimately, who want to share and express, but there's something holding them back in fear of being hurt and fear of being seen. And that was me, fear of being seen, fear of being heard. I would always put myself out there and I had to be all done up and it had to be a whole production. I couldn't just show up as who I truly am in fear of being judged. And now, after the work that me and Laura have done together, I am able to show up for more of an authentic thing. Yes, I still have the little heart palpitation. Yes, sometimes my armpits still sweat, but now I can recognize it for what it is and I can keep moving forward, which is the best thing ever. I felt like I was thirsting for the longest time for this, like there's a there, like I'm gonna get there somewhere. There's a finish line. And what I've come to learn this year through the work that we're doing is that I just wanted to be comfortable in my own skin. I just wanted to find ease just sitting with who I am, make fun, make off, like all of it. I just wanted to feel good, just be me. And that is what I have found this year. And I am shouting it from the rooftops because it feels like nothing I've ever experienced before. It still feels so new.
So beautiful. When we met, like there were so many things, right, that were going well. You had this great business already, great family. But what would you say, like, what was going on when you entered the space? Like, what were you struggling with? What were you looking for? What kind of, when you joined, what were you hoping to get out of the
Yeah, when I
experience?
joined this time, it was all about my intuition telling me to burn everything to the ground. I had just given birth to my daughter, and I was in this kind of, do I keep doing what I'm doing? Am I doing something different now? Am I even the same person? And my guidance kept saying, like, burn it off the ground. And that actually freaked me out. I was like, I did all this and you want me to just burn it to the ground? So there was that control piece that came in that wanted to hold on for dear life. And so my guidance led me to again join the Living Abundance Mastermind. And through that work, we started working to figure out what is this guidance really saying? And it was just take a pause, like a sacred pause. Take a beat, just be. And as I'm saying that now, I know it sounds so like, oh, guidance, listen, be. But it wasn't like that for me because that control piece where we want to be doing something. I've been conditioned, we've been conditioned to be doing something. And if we're not doing something, then we're not being in success. And so I had a big conversation with myself, my mind, and my body, like, what is it? And through this work, I'm starting to find that I can just be, and the doing will happen as I'm being, which is a different
Mm.
way to live life.
Very confusing for our brains. So, like, what would you say when, because I had the same thing. My guidance told me to stop everything. And I was like, wait a minute, I've worked so hard to build my business at this point. What do you mean stop everything? Based on like where you're, the side of the fence you're sitting on now, like, what do you know when your guidance is saying stop, burn to the ground, stop everything you're doing? What do you understand about that now in terms of that process?
Um, what I understand about that now is that it's not really technically burning it at all to the ground because the foundation is still here. Who I am is still here. It's just where we're going may look a little different. Who we're being as we're going may look a little different. And so I had to catch up. felt like I had to catch up with who my guidance knew me to, that I could be more of almost. It was like I needed that hard pause so I can really be myself, so I could really learn who I am in this new transition of being a mom for the second time. And just, and I have the luxury to do that. And I know not everybody, like I want to say that, not everybody has that luxury when your guidance says full stop, to just push the brake and do that. So I definitely want to acknowledge that in this conversation as well, because I did have that luxury to do that.
Mm. Yes. I remember when I was guided to stop, I didn't feel like I had that luxury because I had so much anxiety about money and this sense of like, we have this sort of, we got to doing,
Mhm.
right? And actually, when we're guided to stop and just be, it can be quite stressful. What did you find was coming up for you, like in the real human, like nervous system reaction when you're asked to stop and not do? Like what came up for you, like thoughts or
Well, at
beliefs
first
or
I did
stories?
not listen at all. I did not listen. I went full force. I was like, I'm just gonna put that in the back burner and I'm just gonna go for it. And it wasn't until April that I was like, my guy's like, if you're not gonna stop, we're gonna stop you. And so it was like burnout is the way that my guidance full stopped me. And I just felt like I couldn't create. I just felt like I couldn't show up. Like it was just like, you are stopping now. So it did take that point for me because I did want to keep showing up. I did want to keep doing what I was doing because I love what I do. I love the fact that I get to help people, and I love that I host a podcast, and I had another book that dropped in. Like I love, like I had all these visions and what I'm supposed to be doing, and it was so hard to be like, you want me to stop, but I have all this potential possibility and creation in me.
Yes,
It wasn't easy, and so my human was just like freaking out.
yeah. So interesting, isn't it? Because we're being guided into something much more beautiful, much more greater. And my understanding is we have to stop doing because that doing is from an old pattern, like an old
Yeah.
wounding of, yeah, you're saying not there yet or not enough or needing to give, and to understand the value of your being and also the power of your being, which
Mm-hmm.
is confusing to our beautiful brains. And I think this
Yeah.
is, it's like we can know it, but actually doing it is another thing. And I
Mm-hmm.
do really want to honor your courage for really listening. What have you been learning or understanding through the power of your being, through really doing the being, if you will?
Mm-hmm. That I'm being moved. Like the vision I get is me on like a kayak and I'm going down the water and there's rapids and there's rocks and there's everything in the way and I am just being moved. And it's such a beautiful dance. Like I don't have to worry. I just get to be in my body and be moved. And then the action that I'm doing is coming from a place of like my heart. And so it feels effortless. It feels magical. It's not really magic. It's just now I'm tapped in, turned on, and connected to the source of all that is. And it's just a different way of being and a way of being that I wish for us all because it's all here for us. Like I'm not this special human who has these magical superpowers. Like we all have the superpower to tap in to nature, to tap into the universe. And that is where the magic truly happens. And that's for me right now is I'm showing up from a place of where I'm not tied to the outcome. There's less attachment to what it is. And now when my guidance speaks, there's a deeper trust. There's a deeper anchoring into what it's saying because I've been shown time and time again, every time I've come back to this flow, that I've always been led into a greater path that I could have never asked for. It's always better when I am that tapped in, turned on, listening. And it's a deep listening.
Yeah. I think that's really, I always say it's stressful for our brains because our brain can't see it. And yet our heart and soul is calling us into more. And it's really managing that mind of ours and
Mm-hmm.
opening up to the magic of the unknown, even though like some part of us knows it, but we don't necessarily know what it's going to look like. And it's taking us into something different. So what are some of the things you've noticed about the power of your being? Like in terms of, because it sounds great, just be, but like why do we just be? Like what have you learned is like the power of that? Why is that a good thing to let go of the kind of doing and drop into
It's
being?
it's everything. It's everything because we are human, but we have a soul that is leading us. Like you say, the heart, mind, soul connection. Like we have that inner knowing that guides us. So if we are being in our mind, then we're forcing and controlling. And yes, like you say, we can make stuff happen from that place. And for years and years, I made stuff happen from a place of control, of pushing, of work for it. And I got things done, but it did feel hard. It felt really hard. It felt like I was pushing a boulder up a hill and getting things done that way versus being in my body and being moved. I am literally always going to be in the right place at the right time, so to speak. It feels like the universe is working in my favor. It feels like we're co-creating. It just feels different. And that's the only way I could say it. It's like that being moved piece for me was the real way my mind was like, okay, I get this.
Mm. Have there been any unexpected surprises with this work that you want to share? Any kind of stories or results you'd like to share with us?
Now, the first time I came into your world, it was all about money. It was like, how can I manifest all this money? Let's just manifest money. And so then we started playing and I started manifesting money and money just kept coming in and it was tripling, doubling. It was just like, okay, cool. So then I was like, money is great. It feels good to manifest money. It feels good to manifest what you want. But I needed to go deeper. So this time around, I was like, I'll manifest myself into life. I want to bloom fully. I want to be fully into my body, my skin, myself. And that was what I came in working with is I want to be in full bloom. So to me, that is like full surrender, full knowing, full me. And what I found through that work is everything around me then starts to kind of mirror that for me. So like the money was never the thing. Like it just comes. And I don't have to ask for it. I don't have to manifest it. And like the relationship with my husband, like our conversations are just more easy. Like he's coming to me and talking about his feelings without me having to put this forth. It's just like everything starts to kind of work out. I go out into the real world and people just start gravitating towards me, talking to me, and we go deep. We're not just surface talking anymore. It's just like being in the world this way is just like magnetizing what is in your vibration, what is for you. Like you're magnetizing it without forcing, without pushing. And yes, my mind gets in the way. It's like, it's not here yet. And let's do more. My mind still does that. But now it's almost like an outer body experience. Now I can kind of bring myself back quicker. I can sense it when I'm like forcing myself versus when I'm in alignment with what is. And so, yeah, everything is kind of, it falls that way. Like it's not about money. It's not about money, but it's about who you become as you're manifesting what you truly desire.
Oh my God, 100%. And of course, it's nice to have the money too. We're not saying it's either or, it's both.
Yeah. It's all, yes.
It's all, but we make like we give our power to the money or we give our power to the person and we make them the source rather than realizing that you are the source when you're tapped into that source and like everything is available that you actually truly want, that's in alignment, you know? So, but I think the challenge, and you said it, is our minds, our brain is still going to be there, like, you know, searching or in the not enough or in the survival, and it's managing that mind and holding that. That's everything.
It's also the body as well. I think it's the body and the mind, because the mind, like my mind, I can kind of tell it what to do. I can tell my mind what to do. But I think for me, it's my body. My body will always be the full stop. My body will always be the one that's kind of like timid and holding back. And so I think it's also managing like the body response, the conditioned tendency of the way that we were being before, we knew better, because we can't do better. We know better. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's what I learned as well. It was like my nervous system and sort of like my hardwiring of like trauma in my body that was sort of constantly telling me I wasn't safe. And, you know, and it's like, and it obviously affects on how you feel and how you think. And for me too, like I've been doing this work for a long time. It's still a daily practice, you know. Some days I'm more in the flow than others, but I've noticed for myself that when I'm in this kind of like I call rewiring to receive, like shifting through an old story, an old pattern, it can sort of feel turbulent in my nervous system and in my body. And it's just holding that whole, like my guidance is always like, just be, it's all doing its thing. Just hold the line. It's okay. And then there's this beautiful breakthrough and then this new level of receiving. And It's really a really powerful wild ride. Do you have anything else that's on your heart or that your soul, heart being self would like to share about anything along the lines of this journey, of this process for you or for others?
Yeah, this work, courageous work. This work is not for the faint of heart. Like you definitely, it's a calling.
Yeah.
It's if you know that if it's for you, you will feel it in your heart. You'll feel it in your gut. You'll be pulled. Like I talk about how I never even thought about doing this again. Like the thought consciously was never like, I'm gonna go find Laura and she's gonna help me. It was just my soul knew that there was a deeper place for me. There was more to do, more to be. And so for this work of the living abundance ecosystem, it will call you and you will feel it. You will feel it in your heart and your soul that you are meant to go deeper within yourself, to remember who you are. Really the work is remembering who you are, which is divine, which is magnificent, which is yeah, everything.
Mm. And I think like that burning down, like burn it down to the ground is what I would call like this transformational alchemical process of just the letting go, the shedding of the old
Mm-hmm.
snake skin. And it can
Yeah.
feel quite dramatic, like, oh, my brain loves to catastrophize, but like it's all over, and actually my soul is like, no, you just need to relax. Allow this thing to move through you, do nothing in this moment while you're freaking. And I've just learned that that's the game. And yet I do think the power of obviously the mastermind, the leader space is being held in that, because when you're alone doing this work, I think it's harder. My experience is
Mm-hmm.
it's harder anyways. And just when you're held in the space, it feels like effortless. It feels like magic, but we know really deep, powerful shifts and changes are happening.
Yep.
And it's so, so, so beautiful. So, Jocey, if anyone would like to get in touch with you, what's the best way to find out more about you and your work, to come into your
Yeah. So right now I've been on Instagram the most. So it's at Bloom with Jocey _ underneath all of it. And you will find me and come be able to come get on my world.
beautiful and bloom with Jocey? Absolutely
Yeah.
beautiful. Well, thank you so much for being here today and sharing a bit about your lived experience. And not only that, being you, because that's the greatest gift of all. And the beautiful kind of co-creation that's happening within these conversations. And that's what's absolutely so beautiful. When we show up as who we are, we start to create and co-create. And there's this dance between yourself and life and people. And it's just so much joy. So thank you once again. It's been an absolute delight talking with you today and working with you. So much love. Thank you, Jocey.
Thank you.